Alright, so today let's talk about some amazing single-player games. Those immersive, unforgettable experiences where you can lose yourself for hours. From heart-pounding action to emotionally driven stories, these 15 games offer something truly unique. And hey, I'll share some of my personal thoughts on each one too. Let's jump right in. First up, Still Wakes the Deep, a game that immediately grabbed my attention with its eerie, isolated setting. You play as a worker on an oil rig in the North Sea, caught in a violent storm, when something sinister starts to unfold. What I love about this game is how it builds tension. The rig is an inherently claustrophobic environment, and when you throw in a supernatural threat, it ramps up the atmosphere to 11. If you're into survival horror like Outlast or Alien Isolation, this is one to watch. Indika stands out for its sheer artistic ambition. Set in 19th century Russia, it's a narrative-driven game that explores themes of faith, politics, and personal struggle. What really intrigues me is the blend of surrealism with historical context. As a young nun, you're thrown into a world that feels like a dream and a nightmare all at once. For me, the art style and tone evoke a kind of dark, poetic beauty that's rare in games. I've always been drawn to stories that challenge how we see the world, and Indika is one of those games that sticks with you long after you've finished it. Now let's switch gears to something a bit more light-hearted and action-packed. Call of Juarez Gunslinger is hands down one of the most fun first-person shooters I've ever played. It's a love letter to the Wild West, with over-the-top gunfights, a super stylized narrative, and a really cool arcade feel. You follow Silas Greaves, a bounty hunter who's telling his wild, exaggerated tales of gunfights with outlaws like Billy the Kid and Jesse James. The twist? Silas isn't always a reliable narrator, so the story twists and changes as he speaks. Super cool and unique. I honestly loved every minute of this game. It's short but sweet, and if you're a fan of westerns, it's a must-play.
We're gonna be in deep shit when Pat gets back!
From the team behind Life is Strange comes Banishers Ghosts of New Eden. This game is all about ghost hunters during the late 1600s, but it's also a deeply personal story. You play as two lovers who are faced with emotional and spiritual turmoil as they tackle supernatural threats. What I'm really loved about it is how the game combines an emotional narrative with action RPG mechanics. I love games where your choices matter, and this game takes that to heart, making it not just a combat game, but a deeply reflective one.
Talking all the fun. I'm right here, you know.
Imagine a road trip through a post-apocalyptic nightmare. That's Pacific Drive. This game has a really unique concept. You're a lone driver in an old station wagon navigating a mysterious and dangerous zone filled with anomalies. It's part survival game, part roguelite, and it really grabbed me with its mix of driving and exploration. The atmosphere looks both haunting and beautiful, and every trip feels like a desperate scramble to survive. I love when games take familiar concepts and give them a twist in driving survival horror. That's something we don't see every day. Atomic Heart is one of those games that feels like it came out of nowhere and instantly became a must-play for me. Set in an alternate version of the Soviet Union, it's a sci-fi RPG that's dripping with style. The world is filled with bizarre robots, intense action, and a dystopian story that feels like BioShock and Half-Life had a wild mutated baby. I personally love games that don't shy away from the weird and experimental, and Atomic Heart seems to embrace that, with its over-the-top combat and strange, unsettling atmosphere. It's the kind of game where every corner you turn leaves you wondering what the heck is going to happen next. Now here's a true gem that I think deserves way more recognition. Enslaved Odyssey to the West is an action-adventure game that takes you through a beautifully crafted post-apocalyptic world with a great story. You play as Monkey a Brute with incredible agility and Trip a tech-savvy girl as they try to survive in a world dominated by rogue machines. The dynamic between the two characters is what makes this game so special. Their relationship evolves throughout the story, and you really feel a connection to them. I think it's one of the best examples of emotional storytelling in an action game. If you haven't played this yet, you absolutely should.
Okay. It's all clear. Get over here.
Coming.
Jusant is a game that's all about climbing. That may sound simple, but it's actually a beautifully serene experience. You scale massive cliffs, explore towering mountains, and uncover the secrets of an abandoned world. What I really appreciate about this game is its calming, almost meditative approach to exploration. Sometimes you just need a break from fast-paced action or heavy narratives, and Jusant looks like the perfect game to relax with. The art style is gorgeous too. This is definitely one for people who love slow, thoughtful, and atmospheric adventures. Now let's talk horror, specifically The Quarry. From the creators of Until Dawn, this interactive horror game is like playing through your own personal slasher movie. You control a group of teens at a summer camp, and as you'd expect, things go horribly wrong. What I love about The Quarry is the branching narrative. Every decision you make can mean life or death for these characters. It's tense, cinematic, and surprisingly fun to replay. The performances from the actors are top-notch, which makes the whole thing feel like a big-budget horror movie that you're directing.
We have a choice on our hands. Do we snoop through someone else's belongings? Or do we open the spooky trapdoor and die a horrible, painful death? There are literally no right answers.
Goodbye, cruel world.
child. The final curtain is calling and there's no time for an encore.
If you're looking for over-the-top action and monster-slaying fun, Evil West is the game for you. It's a wild mix of westerns and supernatural horror. You play as a gunslinging vampire hunter in a world where creatures of the night are running rampant. The combat is visceral and fast-paced, with a mix of guns, melee, and electrifying powers. Honestly, the game looks like an absolute blast, especially if you enjoy the high-octane combat of games like Doom or Devil May Cry. For me, it's the perfect game to just turn off your brain and dive into some chaotic, blood-pumping fun. Hogwarts Legacy is a dream come true for any Harry Potter fan. This open-world RPG lets you step into the shoes of a student at Hogwarts and explore the magical world like never before. Whether you're attending classes, learning spells, or venturing into dangerous dungeons, the game offers a ton of freedom to live out your wizarding fantasies. As someone who grew up with the books and movies, this game felt like a magical homecoming. The attention to detail is insane, and the world feels alive with secrets to uncover. If you've ever wanted to lose yourself in the wizarding world, this is the game to do it.
Accio. Hard to pin down. Sharp magic, eh? Careful, this one packs a punch. Can't petrify us all, you know.
Accio. Confringo. Defender.
Dare slay one of my own.
Confringo. Defender. Incendio.
A Plague Tale: Innocence is one of the most beautifully haunting games I've ever played. Set during the Black Death, it's a story-driven adventure about Amicia and her brother Hugo as they try to survive in a world ravaged by disease and war. The dynamic between the siblings is incredibly moving, and the game's atmosphere is dark, grim, and filled with tension. What really stood out to me was how the game uses swarms of rats as both a narrative and gameplay mechanic. It's terrifying and brilliant at the same time. The mix of stealth puzzle solving and storytelling makes this one a truly unforgettable experience.
Perfect! Thank you! You can come down now!
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is unlike any other game I've played. It tells the story of Senua, a Celtic warrior dealing with severe mental illness, as she embarks on a journey to the underworld to save the soul of her dead lover. What's really incredible about this game is how it tackles the subject of psychosis. The developers worked closely with mental health professionals to create an experience that's both respectful and incredibly immersive. The sound design, in particular, is absolutely stunning, using binaural audio to replicate the experience of hearing voices. Hellblade is not just a game, it's an emotional journey, and it's one of the most impactful experiences I've ever had in gaming.
Search is getting stronger! Stop
Next up, we have Ghostrunner 2, and let me tell you, this game is the definition of fast-paced adrenaline. If you played the first Ghostrunner, you already know what you're in for. Cyberpunk vibes, sword-swinging action, and insane parkour. But this time, it's even more refined. Ghostrunner 2 takes everything the original did well and cranks it up a notch. You're still slicing through enemies and zipping around at lightning speed, but the levels are bigger, there are more ways to approach combat, and the bike sections, those add a whole new layer of intensity. What I love most about Ghostrunner 2 is how it rewards precision and quick reflexes. Every moment feels like a challenge, but when you nail those combos and dodges, it's incredibly satisfying. If you're a fan of high-octane action and the cyberpunk aesthetic, this one's a must-play. Bridge of Spirits is without a doubt one of the most visually stunning games I've ever played. The world of Kenna feels like an animated film brought to life. You play as Kenna, a spirit guide helping restless souls find peace, and the game is packed with emotional depth and beautiful storytelling. What sets Kenna apart is not just the stunning visuals, but also the fluid and rewarding combat. You have a mix of melee and ranged abilities, and the little creatures called Rot that accompany you can assist in battle and puzzle solving. There's this perfect balance of heartwarming moments and exciting action. For me, Kenna is one of those games that just feels magical. It's charming, emotional, and full of adventure. If you're into story-driven action games with a lot of heart, Kenna Bridge of Spirits is an absolute must. And this wrapped up with 15 incredible single-player games that you've just got to experience. Which one are you diving into next? Or have you already experienced any of these gems? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell for more gaming goodness. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.